back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Senate rejects devolution of power to states, votes on 33 other clauses as it begins debate on the amendment of the 1999 Constitution. President Buhari meets 7 state governors visiting to check on his state of health in London. Acting President Yemi Osinbajo swears in 2 new ministers following approval by Senate. And one of the warlords in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Mpabo Sheka, surrenders to UN peacekeepers. Do remember now that for more on our top stories and others, please visit our websites, channelstv.com and youtube.com/channelsweb. You can also watch us on the go on your mobile device. Log on to m.channelstv.com or download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows devices from their respective stores. Having the Channels TV and Channels 24 app will give you access to news and updates. You also have the eyewitness feature, so you too can be part of the news. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the eyewitness menu and follow the instructions to share those pictures, videos or news of happenings around you. Let's take a look at some of those pictures now, and we can begin with this one. There it is, from Orile Gomu in Lagos State, showing a flooded road, which our eyewitness reporter says is as a result of the canal, which has been turned into a refuse dump. He's worried about the danger it poses to residents and the environment. Similarly, residents of Surulere in Lagos are concerned about the constant flooding and damage of property in their area, which is caused by the same canal, and they're calling on the state government to help dredge it. And here's a picture of a bad road from Enugu State, which our eyewitness reporter says is as a result of heavy rain. He's appealing to the government to come to their rescue, as there's been no vehicular movement for 3 days. And here's a picture from Ikotepane in Akwa Ibom State. According to our eyewitness reporter, the driver lost control of the vehicle, swerved and crashed into the gutter. He's worried about the trend of road accidents happening these days. Unfortunately, we end with another road accident in Kano State, which was due to a collision of 2 trucks. Our eyewitness reporter is calling on the fire service in this case to come to their aid because of the petrol that's coming out. Thanks a lot for all your pictures and being part of our news tonight. The acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, has finally sworn in 2 ministers approved by the Senate on May the 3rd, 2017. Stephen Ochene from Kogi replaces the late James Ocholi, while Suleiman Hassan from Gombe State takes the place of Amina Mohammed, who is now the Deputy Secretary General of the UN. They were sworn in shortly before the start of the Federal Executive Council meeting, where Professor Osinbajo asked the ministers to key into the federal government's economic reform programs.
The arrival of the acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, kick-started the day's event at the Federal Executive Council meeting. Before proceedings commenced, the 2 ministers approved by the Senate 3 months ago were called upon to take an oath of office. Professor Osinbajo expressed confidence in the choice of ministers, charging them to key into the administration's mandate.
And we expect, of course, that members of the Federal Executive Council will focus on these key areas as well. We have, of course, made tremendous progress with security. There are issues and challenges here and there, but they are, compared to where we're coming from, very minor indeed, and we're tackling them on a day-by-day basis. For the anti-corruption fight, we're focused, and we believe that the primary thing to do is for those of us who are serving, for those of us who have the privilege of service, to ensure that by our own conduct and by our own actions, we support the anti-corruption fight.
The newly sworn-in ministers began official duties immediately. After the closed-door meeting, the Minister of Finance told State House correspondents that the Council had approved a loan in the sum of 3.38 billion naira for Plateau State for the development of the Irish potato value chain.
The rationale is that Plateau actually accounts for 95% of Nigeria's potato production, and from Plateau, potato is actually exported to Ghana, Niger, Chad, and other countries. And despite that, there are huge post-harvest losses. There's not enough storage, and there's so much more that we could be doing with Plateau potato. So the ADB has come up with a comprehensive program. It will affect over 100,000 farm families. It is expected to create 60,000 jobs in the potato value chain.
The council also approved and ratified the works conducted on Kaduna-Abuja Highway, according to the Minister of Power, Works and Housing.
Council approved and ratified the works that we had conducted on Abuja-Kaduna Highway. The implication is 1,058 million for the 165-kilometer Abuja-Kaduna stretch, where we did mainly patching of potholes to make the road motorable during the closure of the Abuja airport.
At this point, the portfolio of the newly sworn-in ministers remains unknown, but there's strong information that the much-speculated cabinet reshuffle may happen any time from now. From the presidential villa, Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
The acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, today met with the former head of state and chairman of the National Peace Committee for the 2015 elections, General Abdulsalami Abubakar, at the presidential villa. The meeting, which was also attended by members including the Archbishop of Abuja, Cardinal John Onayekon, and the Bishop of the Roman Catholic Diocese of Sokoto, Matthew Kuka, was held behind closed doors and lasted for over an hour. When the State House correspondent asked, the chairman declined to disclose the details of the meeting. And at least 15 people have been rescued from the rubble of the 4-story building that collapsed here in Lagos yesterday. 8 people have been confirmed dead, and more residents are still believed to be trapped in the building located on Tokumbo Street. Our correspondent Chris Lems reports.
It's a subdued and somber mood at Master Street, Lagos Island, as onlookers alongside rescue operatives hope frantically that no more death is recorded at this disaster site. Attempt to collect some bodies of victims by relatives generates some tension, but the police and Lagos neighborhood personnel prevail to restore calm.
The good people of Lagos Island have been quite cooperative in these efforts. You can see that the place is very peaceful. Many of them, if they had their way, they would even want to jump in and join the rescue effort, but we have spoken with them that this must be done professionally.
As to what may have led to the incident, the Lagos State Emergency Management Board gives an insight.
Within the community, we spoke to people, and what they think caused this was, one, the building is old and not strong. Secondly, some months back, they erected a mast on this, which was completed some few weeks ago. And they believe that the weight of that mast contributed to this.
For this lady, whose family survived the building collapse, it's a moment to be grateful.
The only thing that saved them that he saw a small space. They now use a stick that he saw to through the space. So when he was trying to through that space, the people outside were saying, it's like someone is here. So they tried to rescue my baby and rush the baby to the hospital. So later they break the wall to rescue my husband.
While families count losses and mourn their loved ones, this eyewitness blames developers and Lagos State government on the matter.
We saw them bringing in a mast about 3 weeks ago. I was confused. Who has tested this house to approve this kind of mast? Then I saw officials from Lagos State LABSCA who were in charge of building control. They came here, they snapped pictures, they look at the house. So we felt it was okay for them to have come down.
As far as coring, a body for registered engineers in Nigeria, is concerned, more work is needed to be done to arrest quackery in the industry.
People who commit all these things, they go scot-free at times, or the punishment is not adequate. That's why they keep repeating it.
Rescue operations have been concluded with 8 people confirmed dead and 15 people rescued. There are lots of such buildings on the island, raising questions of how well the Lagos State Building Control Agency is actually regulating the activities of developers here. From Lagos Island, Chris Elams reporting for Channels Television.
And there you see supporters of the Islamic leader Sheikh El-Zakzaky, while they're protesting in Abuja, calling for the release of their leader, who's been in detention since 2015. The Free Zakzaky protesters took to the streets, filing an earlier warning from the Nigerian police to stop the protest. They're asking the federal government to release their leader, whom they say is currently ill. The Nigerian Army says it's rescued all the oil workers kidnapped by Boko Haram terrorists on Tuesday, while the Army was unable to rescue 9 of its own soldiers and a civilian who were killed by the insurgents. A statement from the Director of Army Public Relations, Sani Usman, says 4 vehicles belonging to the NNPC, the civilian JTF and the Army have been recovered. Other items recovered, according to him, include large quantities of arms and ammunition, materials for making improvised explosive devices and reflective jackets. He says the troops are on the trail of the terrorists. The Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, has read the Riot Act to commissioners of police, saying the force will not tolerate any act of illegal duty in the course of controlling crime in the country. Addressing commissioners of police and other senior police officers in Abuja, Mr. Idris stressed the need for a regular check on all policemen, police stations and cells of the Criminal Investigation Department in order to curtail cases of human rights abuses and illegal detention. He also asked all senior police officers to liaise with traditional and religious leaders as part of efforts to boost community policing.
It's your job as commissioners of police of the commands to ensure that every policeman operating in your command must fall under your operational control. And that's why I come to the level of we have to ensure that these officers are supervised. You set up, escort within your commands that will go around to ensure that some of these illegalities are checked. I have cause last year to address our mobile police commanders, and I stated very clearly that all deployments that occur outside this administration is null and void. Every deployment, they have to revalidate it. So I'm surprised somebody make a deployment and the action is given a letter written by somebody which is about 2 or 3 years ago. That doesn't operate.
When the news at 10 returns, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission recovers over 300 billion naira from 9 major oil marketers in the country. That's on Business News. Do join us again.